The hidden DNA changed human history forever. There are moments in human history that feel small when they happen. No explosions, no headlines, no cheering crowds, just a quiet realization inside a laboratory, a strange pattern on a screen, a result that doesn't make sense. And yet, these moments end up changing everything. This story begins with one of those moments.
Ever wondered where you really come from? Not the stories, but the science. On this channel, we decode real DNA, uncover lost ancestries, and bring ancient genomes to life through cinematic storytelling. If that excites you, subscribe for weekly insights. Like the video to support science-based history, and drop a comment. Your questions help guide what we explore next.
Or at least, that's what we thought. Then, hidden inside the microscopic coils of DNA, scientists found something that should not have been there. Not a mutation, not a random error, but a signature, ancient, precise, and undeniably human, yet not fully human at the same time. This discovery didn't just add a footnote to history, it rewrote chapters. It forced scientists to admit that the story of humanity was incomplete, that we are not who we thought we were, and perhaps that we never were. What made this discovery so unsettling wasn't just its age, it was the implication. The idea that modern humans carry genetic material from beings we once believed were extinct, unrelated, or even mythical. Beings whose bones were barely found, whose names were barely known, and whose existence had been debated for decades. And yet, there it was, inside us, every heartbeat, every breath, every generation. This hidden DNA discovery would eventually reveal that human history is not a straight line, but a tangled web of encounters, survival, conflict, intimacy, and inheritance. A story not just of progress, but of merging paths, of lost civilizations living on in silence through our cells. At first, scientists resisted the idea. Some called it contamination, others called it coincidence. A few dismissed it entirely, because if it was true, then it meant something deeply uncomfortable. It meant that modern humans are not a pure species, that we did not simply replace other humans, we absorbed them. That extinction, in this case, didn't mean disappearance, it meant transformation. And once this door was opened, it could never be closed again. The discovery would spread beyond laboratories and academic journals. It would raise questions that science alone could not answer. Questions about identity, about superiority, about what it truly means to be human. And perhaps most unsettling of all, it would suggest that we are still carrying secrets from a past we barely remember. This is the story of the hidden DNA discovery that changed human history forever. Not because it revealed something new, but because it revealed something that had been with us all along. The first clues in ancient bones. The story of hidden DNA begins not in a flashy lab, but in the quiet, dusty corners of archaeology, in caves, in permafrost, in the bones of creatures long dead. For centuries, anthropologists dug through layers of earth, cataloging what they found: skull fragments, teeth, femurs, ordinary objects that carried extraordinary secrets. In the early 21st century, scientists began applying a new tool, genetic sequencing, a process that could read the minute letters of DNA preserved in ancient bones. What they were hoping to find were the usual patterns, that Homo sapiens evolved in Africa roughly 200,000 years ago, that migration to Europe and Asia followed a predictable path, that Neanderthals, our closest cousins, eventually disappeared with barely a trace left behind. But then came the anomalies. A fragment of a finger bone unearthed in a remote Siberian cave produced DNA that did not match anything known. Not human, not Neanderthal, something entirely different. Scientists initially called it mysterious. Later, they gave it a name, Denisovans, a people whose physical remains were almost non-existent, just a finger, a few teeth, yet whose genetic signature would be found far beyond the cave they were discovered in. The first shock came when researchers compared Denisovan DNA to modern humans. People in Southeast Asia, in Papua New Guinea, even some in the Pacific Islands carried traces of this ancient genome. Not a lot, just a few percent. Enough, though, to confirm a truth that had been dismissed for millennia. Humans interbred with other human species, not once, not twice, but repeatedly. It was as if human history was a series of overlapping chapters, some hidden, some erased, and yet still influencing the present. Even more astonishing was the discovery of Neanderthal DNA inside modern Europeans and Asians. Long considered a separate, inferior species, Neanderthals were suddenly not just our distant cousins, but our ancestors in part. About 1 to 2% of the genome in people outside Africa came from these long-extinct humans. These were not relics. These were living legacies, encoded in our cells, silently shaping everything from our immune system to our skin and hair. And as sequencing technology improved, the picture became even stranger. Not only did these ancient humans leave traces, but there were hints of even older, more mysterious lineages. Ghost populations, scientists called them. Beings we had never seen, never named, yet whose DNA still whispers through us. Every bone, every fragment, every tiny strand of DNA was like a breadcrumb leading to a truth far more complex than anyone expected. Humanity is not a story of survival of the fittest. It is a story of survival through connection, through blending, merging, and borrowing life from one another. And this revelation would soon turn the textbooks upside down.
The map inside our genes. If bones told the story, DNA wrote the map. Every cell in your body carries a library of instructions, millions of letters long. Most of it is routine, telling your body how to grow, repair, and function. But hidden among those instructions are traces of the past, footprints left by ancient encounters that no historian could have recorded. Scientists began to scan the genomes of thousands of people from around the world. They weren't looking for fossils or artifacts this time. They were looking for patterns, tiny variations in DNA that could only exist if, at some point in history, different human populations had met, mingled, and produced children. The results were staggering. Modern humans carry at least 3 distinct layers of ancient DNA. The first comes from Neanderthals, a species that lived in Europe and Western Asia. Roughly 40,000 years ago, when our ancestors migrated out of Africa, they encountered Neanderthals. For decades, researchers assumed the interactions were violent, competitive, and limited. But DNA told a more nuanced story. The encounters included interbreeding, producing generations of hybrid humans whose genes survived into the present. The second layer is Denisovan DNA, originally thought to exist only in a single Siberian cave. In reality, it spread across Asia and Oceania. People in Papua New Guinea today can carry up to 5% Denisovan DNA. These are not abstract numbers. They affect real traits.
the ability to survive high altitudes, resist certain diseases, and even adapt to new environments. Traits from beings that vanished tens of thousands of years ago still influence life today. And then there was the most mysterious layer. Scientists found traces of DNA that didn't match Neanderthals, Denisovans, or modern humans. Nothing in the fossil record resembled it. They called it ghost DNA. Some speculate it comes from populations that existed more than 500,000 years ago. Others suggest it represents species we have yet to discover. Either way, it confirms a mind-bending truth. We carry the shadows of humans who vanished long before our species even appeared. This DNA is more than a historical artifact. It's active. It influences our immune systems, our metabolism, even our susceptibility to modern diseases. In essence, the echoes of extinct humans live inside us, shaping our bodies and perhaps even our behavior in ways we are only beginning to understand. The map inside our genes also challenges the idea of human purity. Every person outside Africa is part Neanderthal, some are part Denisovan, and almost all of us carry traces of other unknown ancestors. The human story is not a single branch of a tree, it is a tangled forest of intertwined roots, some of which are still growing inside us. And yet, the implications go beyond biology. They touch philosophy, identity, and even morality. If we are not pure, if our ancestors were not isolated, what does it mean to define who we are? What does it mean to separate us from them? And what does it say about the narratives we tell ourselves about human superiority, civilization, and progress? The answers, hidden in DNA, are rewriting the story of human history, whether we are ready to hear them or not. The rewrite of human history. For centuries, the story of humanity was simple. Homo sapiens emerged in Africa, migrated across the globe, and replaced all other human species. Neanderthals, extinct. Denisovans, almost mythical. Ghost populations, invisible. Humanity was the hero of its own tale, the sole survivor of a brutal evolutionary contest. But the hidden DNA discovery shattered that narrative. We are no longer just the survivors, we are the inheritors. The story is no longer linear, it is layered, overlapping, and complex. Every genome is a mosaic, stitched together from encounters that happened tens of thousands of years ago. The idea of a pure human species is gone. The notion of replacement is gone. Instead, we see blending, survival through connection, and life persisting in unexpected ways. This rewrite of history changes how we see ourselves. Every person carries evidence of ancient alliances and ancient encounters. Our immune systems bear the scars of the battles our ancestors fought with pathogens that no longer exist. Our ability to live at high altitudes, to metabolize certain foods, to resist or succumb to diseases, all of these are influenced by the DNA we inherited from long-extinct humans. Even culture and migration patterns make more sense under this new lens. When modern humans spread across the globe, it wasn't a clean sweep. They adapted not only through their own ingenuity, but also by borrowing genes from the populations they encountered. The ability to survive in harsh environments, from the frozen tundras of Europe to the high plateaus of Tibet, often depended on these ancient gifts. Humanity's success is not just intelligence or innovation, it is inheritance, adaptation, and absorption. The discovery also highlights the fragility of life and the resilience of survival. Species that disappeared from the fossil record were not entirely lost. Through interbreeding, their genetic legacy continues in millions of people today. In a strange way, they live on, not as fossils, but as threads woven into the fabric of modern humanity. They are ghosts, not of the past, but of the present. And yet, with every answer, new questions emerge. How many other unknown human species contributed to our genome? Could there be lineages that left no fossils, but whose DNA still flows through our veins? And what does this mean for the way we define ourselves, our societies, and even our morals? One thing is certain: humanity's story is not finished. Every cell in our body carries a chapter that has yet to be fully read. And as technology advances, as genetic sequencing becomes more powerful, we will continue to uncover the hidden narratives that history forgot to tell.
What once seemed like a mystery in a remote cave or a laboratory now reshapes the way we see our own identity. It is no longer just a scientific discovery. It is a philosophical revelation. We are, each of us, a living bridge between the past and the future, a blend of survivors, innovators, and forgotten species, all encoded in our DNA. And in that truth lies both awe and humility. Because we are not the beginning of the story, we are a continuation, a chapter in a narrative far older, far stranger, and far more interconnected than we ever imagined. The modern implications of ancient DNA. The discovery of hidden DNA is not just about the past. It has profound implications for the present and even the future. Because our genomes are not static, they are blueprints that influence everything from health to adaptation, from disease resistance to cognitive function. The legacy of Neanderthals, Denisovans, and unknown ancestors still shapes who we are today. For example, some of the DNA inherited from Neanderthals has been linked to immune system responses. It helped early humans survive deadly pathogens encountered outside Africa, and even today, it influences how modern humans respond to viruses and bacteria. Certain Denisovan genes allow populations living in the high Himalayas to thrive where oxygen is thin, adaptations that would have been impossible with a pure human genome. Beyond biology, hidden DNA also challenges the way we think about identity, race, and heritage. For centuries, humans categorized themselves and others based on visible differences, skin color, facial features, or ancestry. But the reality is far more complex. Every person carries a mixture of lineages, making simplistic divisions meaningless. DNA doesn't care about nationality, ethnicity, or borders. It is a record of encounters that happened tens of thousands of years ago, long before modern divisions existed. The implications extend into medicine as well. Personalized medicine is increasingly focused on genetic differences, and the understanding of ancient DNA helps explain why certain populations are more susceptible to diseases, while others are naturally resistant. Even mental health may be influenced by these ancient genes, subtly affecting behavior, stress response, and cognition. Moreover, the discovery has sparked philosophical debates. If humans survived not just by competition, but by connection and integration with other species, what does that say about the way we view society today? Are isolation and separation truly our path to survival? Or is the future of humanity linked to collaboration, blending, and understanding differences, just as it was in the past? Even our understanding of evolution itself has shifted. Once thought to be a simple ladder from primitive to advanced, the story is now a network with branches that cross, merge, and influence one another. The tree of life is more like a web where survival depends on cooperation as much as on competition. And the human genome is the clearest proof of this tangled, intertwined history. Every new study, every newly sequenced genome seems to reveal more surprises. Scientists have found that humans in Africa carry traces of unknown archaic DNA, suggesting that even within the continent where we originated, other human species coexisted, mingled, and contributed to our evolution. The story of humanity is not just out of Africa.
It is a story of repeated encounters, of blending, and of survival through connection. The hidden DNA discovery also forces us to rethink what extinction really means. Species like Neanderthals and Denisovans may no longer walk the earth, but in a very real sense, they are still here. Their genes flow through millions of humans today. In their DNA, they live on. And with that realization comes a profound truth. Survival is not just about existence. It is about leaving a legacy that persists even when the world forgets. The legacy within us. The hidden DNA inside us is more than a scientific curiosity. It is a reminder that humanity is never alone in its journey. We are the heirs of countless lives, of beings who lived, loved, struggled, and adapted long before we were born. Their stories are written not on walls or in books, but in the very cells that make us who we are. Every heartbeat carries their legacy. Every breath is a link to the past, and every choice we make today echoes into the future, shaping the story that our descendants will one day inherit. The discovery of hidden DNA teaches us humility, curiosity, and wonder. It reminds us that history is not a straight line, and our identity is richer, stranger, and more connected than we ever imagined. In the end, we are not just Homo sapiens. We are living archives, mosaics of survival, bridges across time, and the continuation of a story that has been unfolding for hundreds of thousands of years. And in understanding the hidden DNA within us, we glimpse the profound truth. Humanity's past is not gone. It lives quietly in every one of us.